No, he missed with a 19. This guy's a dope.
No. Did we just
Yeah.
we picked up we are getting attacked by the runt of the Thunderhorns.
Absolutely. Yeah, this is like
Boy, this freaking guy.
my name is Jeff Irving, and this is the Vrahode Tavern Podcast. I am the creator of the Vrahode game system. And in this podcast, we're going to do a deep dive into the lore and gameplay of Vrahode. I'm joined by Brandon Rollins, who will be acting as your stand-in, asking many of the questions you might be curious about yourself. Brandon, what is our topic today?
So let me set the scene for you.
Okay.
All right. So right now we are soloing as a Drell rune, specifically the rook named Rukus. We've got a handful of things going for us. We've got a staff, we've got leather armor, we've got a torch, all of which is very nice. We've got a handful of skills that we can employ later in battle. Veil Walker, which essentially gives us the ability to move further and faster than normal. We've got Stone Mantra, which gives us the ability to handle attacks better, that is, increase mitigation. And we've got Flurry of Blows, which essentially improves our ability to attack. We'll get into the specifics later. And we also have some racial abilities, the only one of which matters here is going to be Watery Noose, which we'll also talk about what that does in a bit. So we are wandering the plains of Renduur, and that's when, and Jeff, why don't you tell us what happens next?
So, all right. So we have the Drell rune rook, Rukus, who's traveling into a new plains region. What that means for him is it costs him 1 fatigue per overland region to travel. So he moves his fatigue counter on the dashboard, 1, for this new region he's entering. He draws an overland exploration card and places it face down next to his dashboard. Because Rukus is traveling alone, he doesn't generate a whole lot of threat because he's quiet, he's by himself, but he still has the chance of elevating the threat in this new plains region that he just entered. So he's going to roll his threat die, and we use the die 6 for a lot of things. We have a custom modifier die, and it works for modifying damage up and down, and it also acts as our threat die. And so because he's by himself, he only has a 1 in 6 chance of increasing the threat in this new region. And so he's going to roll that die. And he rolls a -3, which is the only thing he could have rolled that would have increased that threat. So he has done so. He has drawn the attention of enemies in the area, we think. So he has a choice with that threat die. He has to resolve it. So he can resolve it in one of 2 ways, Brandon. He can either place it on this face down card for this new region, or he can place it not on a card, but on the tabletop surface. What does that mean? Well, he can resolve this however he wants. If he places it on the face down card and an enemy is revealed, instead of 1 enemy, it will be 2. If he chooses to place this threat die on the tabletop, okay, he's by himself. So maybe he doesn't want to have the chance of, if that's an enemy, it being 2. He can place it on the tabletop, and what that means is if it's revealed, then that enemy would have a special behavior. So it's going to act differently and increase the challenge of the enemy. So he does so. He decides to place it on the tabletop, okay? And he's going to go ahead and reveal the Overland Exploration card, and it was an enemy. Okay.
Okay, so, not great.
No, he has drawn the attention of, it looks like a Thunderhorn here. So what we're going to do.
And so what's a Thunderhorn look like, just to set the scene?
Yeah, it looks like a 6-legged bison, basically. It's a big bull, kind of hulking bull looking thing with horns. It looks quite intimidating, and it is probably about twice his size.
And kind of looks pretty intimidating relative to the Drell rune, which is essentially like a lizard man.
Yeah, human-sized reptilian. It's probably pretty intimidating.
Off to a bad start. Freaking Mondays.
Yeah. So we take the Thunderhorn card from the enemy deck, right? That the Overland Exploration card told us. It told us what the enemy was, so we have to go get it from the enemy deck. We place it in the enemy dashboard. It's a real simple little rectangle Thunderhorn goes in. But what we've got to remember, though, is he placed that die, the threat die, on the tabletop, which means that this Thunderhorn, in addition to being a Thunderhorn, is also, let's draw the card, a Crusher. So let me read this Crusher card. Successful melee attacks by this enemy variant cause the target to discard a random inventory item of a roll of +3. It excludes equipped items. So I think earlier you went through what he's carrying. He has a staff, he's wearing leather armor, and he has a torch. So the staff and leather armor is safe from that Crusher effect because he's equipped those, but the torch is in his inventory. So this behavior says that if the Thunderhorn successfully attacks the Rook, he gets to roll a d6, and on a +3, he can break this torch. So that's a danger.
Yeah, that could be bad. I can imagine that'd be a lot worse if we had some more high value items and there was a chance of one of them randomly being dropped.
Oh yeah, a torch, not a huge deal. He's not in a dark place, so he's not in no immediate danger if that torch gets broken.
We're lucky it's early game.
Yeah. So, but Rukus has 14 life and 6 movement. Looks like this Thunderhorn has 16 life. He also has 6 movement. So that's basically the enemy that we're facing. We're going to place the Thunderhorn. We're going to pull out a Plains encounter map, stick it on the tabletop.
Which is like an 18 by 18 board, essentially a flat.
Yeah, this one's round. Most of the overland maps are circular, and there's two markings on these. One of them is for the spawn region for the enemies, and the other one is a rally point for heroes. So we're going to place the Thunderhorn in the enemy spawn region, and we're going to put Rukus around the hero rally point. Okay, so we've got the table set for this battle. So the next thing that we do is what, Brandon? What do we do?
Well, it sounds like we're going to have to roll for initiative to see who goes first.
Well, we don't have to roll. We have this lovely velvet bag. It's a good sized bag, big enough to fit your hand in, and it has initiative tokens in it. And so we're going to go ahead and draw initiative tokens for both the Thunderhorn and Rukus. Who should we draw out first?
Let's go ahead and do Rukus first.
Rukus gets a 7. Okay,
that means good.
Thunderhorn goes next. He gets a 14.
Okay, good. So we get to go first then because we got the lower number. Got it.
Okay, so we know Rukus goes first. So he's got some choices here. He can move. He can. He's a long way away from the Thunderhorn so far. He doesn't have anything that'll reach the Thunderhorn except it looks like his Watery Noose ability, which gives, it says, -1 to target enemy attack rolls this battle. So from here, all the way over to the enemy spawn point, Rukus's magic, racial magic, will allow him to stick a watery noose around the neck of this Thunderhorn. And so it's going to be bothersome to him and it's going to affect his rolls in a negative way. We can do that. That's the only thing we can do right now that will reach the Thunderhorn. Do you want to do that?
Yeah, let's go ahead and do that.
Okay. So he spends an action point in doing that. Okay.
Worth it.
He still has 1 action point left, and now the Thunderhorn's rolls are 10 or less instead of 11 or less. So that watery noose is around his neck, just kind of acting as an annoying distraction to him. But I think Rukus would probably want to use his other action point to close the distance on the Thunderhorn. You agree?
Yeah, I think so too. Because they're going to have to meet up to actually attack. How many spaces are they apart at the current moment?
Let's see. 14.
14. Okay. Okay, gotcha. Yeah,
so
let's close that distance.
He's going to move his 6. That's going to take us down to 8 spaces apart.
Okay.
And he's going to end his turn because he's used his racial ability to noose the Thunderhorn, and he's moved his maximum distance to 6. So it's the Thunderhorn's turn.
And I think we might have skipped this, but the watery noose basically reduces the amount that the Thunderhorn can mitigate damage. Is that right?
No. This is making it harder for him to hit.
Okay. Yeah, I got that backwards then. Okay.
Yeah, so he's got to roll a 10 or less now to successfully attack,
Instead of a
or
12.
yeah, so instead of an
Gotcha.
11. It only is a -1.
Okay, okay.
But the nice thing about it is it lasts the whole battle.
Okay, see, that's good. So that already puts us off to a slightly better situation.
Yeah. So now it's the Thunderhorn's turn, and he's 8 away. Okay, he has an action called Raging Charge, so he can charge
Which,
at a target.
that sounds
He does,
awesome.
yeah. He can charge at the target and do 6 base damage plus knockdown. Okay, so that means he can do his maximum movement, and at the end of that movement, if it's obviously if Brucus is in range, he'll hit him for a base damage of 6 and knock him down, which means he's got to spend an action point to get up from a prone position. But that action is just beyond his movement range, so he can't use it yet. So the Thunderhorn is going to go ahead and move his maximum movement of 6. He's only 2 spaces away from Rucus now, and he has to end his turn.
Okay, so now we're going to draw for initiative again, see who goes first.
Okay. All right, who do you want me to draw first?
Let's draw for Rucus first, then the Thunderhorn.
11. Thunderhorn gets 14.
Okay, so Rucus gets another lucky day here. He gets to move first.
He sure does. Let's go ahead and close the distance.
All right, let's close that distance and let's try and get an attack in on this guy. So
I'll tell you what's bothering me. This Thunderhorn can do 6 base damage on his attacks on us.
I don't love that.
No. If we cast Stone Mantra, we become stone-like, and it gives us 2 more mitigation versus physical attacks for 2 rounds.
Yeah, that mitigation's going to come in handy because this guy's got more life than us, and we can't keep counting on getting initiative.
Yeah, he's got 16 life. We've only got 14.
Yeah, okay, we need that. So we're going to, plus we might end up in another battle later on in the game, which wouldn't be in the podcast, but still. So yeah, let's do that. Let's mitigate some damage.
Let's go ahead and cast Stone Mantra first and then close the distance.
Now that's a skill and therefore doesn't require rule, right?
No, this is a skill, so it does require rule. Okay. Now, when he cast Watery Noose, that was a racial ability for his race, the Drell Rune.
Okay.
That doesn't cost him rule, it just costs him time.
And will Stone Mantra last for the rest of this battle?
Sadly, no. Stone Mantra will only last for 2 rounds. But since Rucus is going first, by casting this now, it will block the next 2 attacks the Thunderhorn would attempt. Perfect. So let's do it. So he spends his rule. He has to move 1 of the rule from the available side to the spent side, and they're little crystals. Does that. He is now under the Stone Mantra, which means with his leather armor and staff, which each give him 1 mitigation, this gives him 2 more. He now has 4 mitigation for 2 rounds, which is good. That's really good.
Yeah, that's going to come in handy.
Yeah. Okay, so, and he's done. He's going to close the distance. Should we close the distance and use those 2 movement to close to melee range for the Thunderhorn, or should we make the Thunderhorn spend his 2 movement to get closer?
I think make the Thunderhorn move.
Let's do it. Let's stay put. We're going to cast Stone Mantra.
We can't attack and use this Stone Mantra in the same turn, can we?
No, you can't. You can't use Stone Mantra and attack.
Gotcha.
Physically. You can only choose a skill, a physical attack, or a racial ability. One of those.
Okay, so we're not going to have any attack options. Yeah, let's make the guy move to us. We'll stay put and we'll use Stone Mantra.
Good idea. Okay, so we're at mitigation 4 now with Stone Mantra. It is now the Thunderhorn's turn. He is going to... Okay, he's going to attempt to use his action. Okay? He has this action that's to charge at a target, so it's movement related. It does 6 base damage plus knockdown. So we know he can get there. Okay? But he only has a 50% chance of being able to use his action each turn. Mm-hmm. Okay, it doesn't cost him any rule, but he only has a 50-50 chance of being able to use it. So let's see if he does it. So we need a plus roll. And he does not get it. Okay, that was just his attempt to try to use his action. So now he's going to go ahead and spend his movement points to move into melee range and do his normal melee attack. Okay? So he's going to roll to see if he hits, and he's going to roll to see what his modifier die does to that base damage of 6 for him in the melee.
Okay.
He rolls a 14. The other roll is irrelevant because it's a miss, so he does not hit Rukus.
Okay, so that ends that turn. He can't do anything else. We draw for initiative and hope that we go first again.
Yeah. No kidding. We got lucky.
Yeah, we have. We've gotten lucky so far. Let's see who goes first this time. Draw for Rukus, then for the Thunderhorn.
Rukus gets a 3.
Nice.
Thunderhorn gets a 14.
This Thunderhorn needs some coffee because he is moving way too slow.
He does. Okay, so what should Rukus do? What do you want to do? Do you want to attack with his staff?
I mean, we've got that in Flurry of Blows, and I feel like we've got a prime opportunity to use Flurry of Blows.
With Stone Mantra in place, we know that we're not going to take a whole lot of damage if he does hit. Flurry of Blows is going to give us 2 rapid blows of hands and or feet to one enemy that do 4 base damage each, plus 1 for each point of focus over 14.
So just really quickly, this versus the staff, Flurry of Blows gives us 2 chances to attack. Using the staff gives us 1.
Correct.
Gotcha.
You want to spend another rule and do the Flurry of Blows?
Yeah, let's put that rule to good use, and this is as good a use as any.
Okay, so but because this is a physical attack, so in other words, he's holding his staff, but he's kicking it with his feet twice. Okay, it doesn't say on here that he has to be without a weapon, so he's basically using his feet. He's going to roll. Okay, he's going to roll 2 dice for the first attack. His roll to hit on the d20, which needs to be at a 12 or less because he's a focus fighter. And the d6 is our modifier die that's going to modify the damage up or down. Okay, here we go. Okay, he rolled a 9, which is 12 or below, so that's a hit. And then he rolled a 5. Actually, he rolled a +2 on the first attack. Okay, which means he did a 4 base damage +2, so he did 6 on the first attack. Let's go ahead and roll the next one and see if he hit. Okay, he rolled an 8 and a 4. That's another hit and a +1. So that's 5 damage.
Okay, and then the Thunderhorn's got mitigation of some sort.
Right, and he's going to mitigate each of those hits individually. So the first one we did 6 damage? Or was it 7?
We got 6 and then a 5.
Okay, so 6. So he did an adjusted 6 damage to the Thunderhorn, who has a mitigation of 3. So instead of 6, that first hit did 3. The second hit did 5.
Minus the 3.
Minus the 3, down to 2. So we did a total of 5 damage, right?
Taking him down from 16 to 11.
Yeah, 16 to 11. That's good.
Mm-hmm. Considering that we have 14, and that's already puts us at kind of a disadvantage, we have already positioned ourselves ahead of this guy.
Yeah, I think we've leveled the playing field, as it were. However, we can't keep spending rule endlessly. We have a limited supply of it. And we know that when we spend our rule down, which is what powers our skills, that we're pushing ourselves towards needing to rest to recover it. So we've got to kind of weigh out how much rule do we want to spend versus just normal physical attacks that only cost us time, right? So that's where we are in that thought process. But it is the Thunderhorn's turn to attack us, and he is going to attempt to use his Raging Charge here right at melee range to hit us again because he wants to do that base 6 damage plus the knockdown. So he's going to roll for that. No, you missed with a 19. This guy's a dope.
No. Did we just
Yeah.
we picked up we are getting attacked by the runt of the Thunderhorns.
Absolutely. Yeah, this is like
Boy, this freaking guy.
yeah. This guy hit a ball, drag Carl, hit a ball, drag Carl.
Batting average of 115.
Exactly. Okay, so he misses, and that's wonderful for Rukus. Rukus is happy about that. So we're going to put our initiative tokens back in the bag. And we're going to, I'm telling you what, we're going to go again. Should we give Carl the Thunderhorn a chance to go first in the draw of initiative?
Yeah.
Should we change? Let's do it. Let's just let him draw first. Here we go. Okay, Carl, the Thunderhorn draws a 1. He finally succeeded. Okay. And Rukus gets a 10. Okay, so Rukus got a 10. So Carl's going first, the Thunderhorn. And he is going, since he still hasn't used his action, Raging Charge, he's going to try to do it again.
Okay.
Yeah, because he wants to knock him down and do that massive damage. So here we go. Okay, he got a 15 on his roll, so he was not able to do an action.
Okay.
But he can still do a regular melee attack.
Okay, let's see if he can land it this time.
Now, here's the question. We have to remember that Rukus cast Stone Mantra to give him more mitigation.
Yeah. But
it just ran out before this turn. So we have to recognize that because the Thunderhorn went first, Rukus was not and his Stone Mantra expired, and he was not able to get it back in place. So he only has a mitigation of 2 because of his leather armor and his staff. So the Thunderhorn missed with his action, but here is his roll for a melee attack on Rukus. And it is an 18. It would have been a -3 on our modifier die. He did not hit, however, and so poor Carl, even though he was the star of the show and he was able to go first, he had a big woof on that. Big woof. Okay, so it is Rukus's turn. I say, what do you think? I think it's just a turn where we've humiliated Carl. He can't touch us.
We don't want to blow through all our rule because if this battle were to continue beyond this podcast, of course, we would want some of that for future battles, should they occur.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we're going to have to rest, and that can create all kinds of problems as well.
Let's smack him with the staff. Okay, here we go. And it's got a base damage of 4. We got a 12, which is exactly what we need. We need a 12 or less. And ready for this? We got +3 damage to it with our modifier.
7, and plus there's a 3 mitigation, so we land 4 attack.
We got 4 attack on Carl. So what's he down to?
7.
Good deal. Awesome. So Rukus, I think Rukus is feeling pretty good and decides to just end his turn here. What do you think?
I think so too.
Let's do it. Okay. So the initiative tokens are back in the bag. We're going to go ahead and let's draw for Rukus first. He got a 1 this time. Okay. And Carl gets an 11 on this one. Okay. So want to smack him again with the staff?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, here we go. Yes, we got a 4 and a 2. He hit and a +2 on damage.
Oh my god, this poor thing.
Oh, -3 mitigation.
Okay.
So what are we down to?
You said we got +2 on that.
We got a total of 6 minus his 3 mitigation, so he took 3 more points of damage.
Whew, putting him down to 4. #PrayForCarl. Can we get that trending? Let's try.
Pray for Carl.
Yes.
Pray for Carl. Okay, so it's Carl's turn. He still has been unable to land his Raging Charge. So he will attempt that now. It's time for Carl's luck to change. Okay, ready, Carl? All right. Yes, he got a 7 and a -1. So he does 5 damage. Rukus is knocked down.
Okay.
And he is also down to 9 health.
5 damage, no mitigation?
Oh no, we've got 2 mitigation
Oh yeah, we've got 1 mitigation because of the staff, and
and 1
1
for the
for the
leather
leather
armor.
armor. So that puts us down to 11 here.
Yeah, 11. Okay, which
Okay,
we're good shape.
but we lost our torch.
No,
No.
he got us. He used his action.
Oh right, he didn't use. Okay, he didn't use his enemy behavior. He just used his action.
Yeah, he did not use a normal attack. It says successful melee attacks. This is an action that he used, so he doesn't get to roll to see if he breaks an inventory or made him discard. He didn't make him discard, but he knocked him down instead.
Okay.
Okay, save. Okay, so at that point, Carl will end his turn. All right, you're keeping track of the life.
Yep.
Okay, what do we at again?
Rukus has 11 and Carl has 4.
Okay, so who should we draw for first?
Poor Carl, obviously.
Okay, Carl, 11 this time. Trust me, I have 20 tokens in here, and 7 for Rook. 7
Well,
for
we
Rook.
might just end this thing.
I think we might. You want to finish him off with a flurry of blows, or do you want to?
Flurry of freaking blows. Let's do this.
All right, here we go. Successful. We need our successful physical attacks on this one, so to land them. So first attack, a 7, so that's a hit, and a +1 on our modifier. Next one is a 12 and a +3.
Okay, so we get a 5 because we had a modified +1, and then a 7 because the default attack of 4 + 3 is 7. So that's a 5, an attack of 5, an attack of 7 mitigates each one by 3.
Yeah.
So that's a 2, and then a 3, and yeah, we killed him.
Yep. Carl was not what I would call a worthy opponent. He went down.
I gotta say, he was a weakling.
Yeah.
But this said, if we didn't get so lucky on initiative rolls, there is a chance we could have died there. And I'd say the median outcome of that is probably just barely scraping away with our life.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about the result of that. You know what I mean? What does that mean to us? We've killed Carl. Okay. So he's got
Hashtag rip Carl.
Yeah, exactly. Rip Carl. He gives us the ability to roll from a loot table for a reward for killing him. We do have to up our fatigue by 1 because we went through a battle. So we're upping our fatigue again. We came into the region, we had to pay a fatigue then, and we've been in battle. So we had to increase our fatigue again. So rule-wise, I think we spent 4 of our 6 rule for the day.
We either spent 2 or 3.
I thought we spent 4
3 or 4.
That
3
last
or 4.
flurry of blows.
I think you're right. You're right. So I think we've got 2 left. It might be 3, but either way, we'll just assume it's 2.
It's good to remind everybody that all this stuff is tracked in the dashboard.
Yes, exactly. Like we're doing this on index cards and scratch paper for the podcast, but we have dashboards that'll take away all this math for you.
Yeah, but Rukus made it through this battle with his life, cost him a little fatigue. He gets to roll a d20 on a loot table, and he finds that he on the Thunderhorn, maybe he was protecting it. He gets to draw from the basic items deck. Okay, and cool. Okay, Rukus draws a fine hand axe.
Okay.
So this is a fine hand axe that it does 5 melee damage or 4 if he chooses to throw it. So a ranged attack. It gives him a ranged attack as well if he chooses to throw it. So this is probably a pretty good weapon for Rukus, for Carl. Carl's doing nothing. No, but it's a pretty good weapon for him. It's better than his staff. The only downside to this little fine hand axe that he found is that it doesn't provide any mitigation. It's not a long weapon like the staff that you kind of hold out in front that can kind of protect you. This one is more about damage output than protection.
Okay. Well, that's a good thing though, because it gives us an alternative to the staff, which we can equip before a battle.
And so, if I were Rukus right now, I think what I would be thinking with my life level where it is, what do you think you would do? Would you play it safe and just camp here? Or would you press on to the next region? What would you do?
Probably camp here.
Okay. If we're gonna camp here, then we're kinda gonna change modes. We're gonna leave the encounter map on the table. We're gonna place our campfire, okay, which isn't necessarily indicative of us lighting a fire. It does not have to be that. It's just showing you, it's giving you the ability to place kind of the center of where you will camp. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
And my advice is don't place your camp on the enemy spawn region.
Okay. Yeah, because that would mean they don't even have to travel to get to you.
Yeah. And so because in the rest situation, ambushes are even possible. Yeah, you kind of want to you just want to place it probably somewhere near the hero rally point or close to the edge of the encounter map. That way, if you have to flee in the event of an ambush or something, it's very accessible to flee that map and just pay
Gotcha.
fatigue.
That makes sense.
Yeah, but that gives you an idea of a very, very basic battle.
Very cool. Yeah, I understand this a lot better now that I've talked this through. For anybody who likes a written version of this, there is also a combat blog post out there. We go a little bit less into like what each of the skills and abilities do, but it does also cover all this stuff, and you can actually see it as well.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think this is a good place to leave off. What do you think?
I think it sounds great. I can't wait to do more of this stuff with you because battles are so dynamic and change so much based on the enemies involved, the heroes involved, even the terrain you're on. We didn't get much into the way terrain modifies movement, but we have various types of movement modifiers that change the battlefield. We also have a complete set of terrain miniatures that, if you're not playing straight procedurally, can make an encounter map different every time you play on it because you can place obstacles and things that channel the battle and move people around in different ways, which is also fun.
And I think all that stuff is going to be good for future episodes. Like we could probably get several out of terrain alone.
Yeah.
Very cool. Well, do you want to take us out?
All righty, I can do that. You can learn more about Vrahode on vrahode.com. That's VRAHODE.com. Link in the show notes. You can also find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, where we're at Vrahode. Thank you again for listening. We really appreciate it. Keep an eye out for our next episode in 2 weeks.